Hello traders and welcome again. This is Paul Arrowsmith, OD Paul 82 on the Trading Football Forum, and today's session, it's a couple of days after the first video. We've got our bank up to about £70 now. Last night was a bit of a disaster with Bayern Munich, absolutely thrashing Roma. So what I'm going to show you today is actually a bit of pre-match trading that I do on the pre-match trading website. Normally I'll use quite a bit bigger stakes than this, and just what I'm doing at this moment in time is getting on some what's called draw inflation, which is where the draw is either too low or too high in relation to the home and away team. Now, the pre-match trading tool actually shows you when something is either too high or too low. As you can maybe just make out in the background there, one of the matches has a DI percentage of 17.57%. So I won't go into the calculations around that, but what I'm doing here is, as you can see, is I'm trying to get onto the draw of Liverpool Real Madrid, just a £5 stake there. And what other one am I getting on to? I've put one on Leverkusen and we're matched. I did a £20 stake on there, and I had laid it to start off with, and I'm putting in the back bets now onto that. So fingers crossed that turns up okay, that one. Having a look at Anderlecht Arsenal, what the PMT tool does as well, it shows you where the correct prices should actually be based on mathematical collections in the middle of the screen there, so where it says PMT, and then you have what the current Betfair price is. This PMT, it bases its prices off Pinnacle and Sporting Index spreads. And we're just loading up, and let's match here. I'm using BetAngel today instead of the Betfair interface, purely because I wanted to actually use the tool that I'm more comfortable with than the Betfair interface. I will alternate between the two doing certain videos, but yeah, this is my actual preferred weapon of choice whilst I'm trading. I'd seen that 1-1 to me, it been too low. Was it too low? Or I think I was trying to back it beforehand. The Betfair, it should have actually been lower according to the PMT tool. What I'm just doing at the moment is setting up BetAngel individual ladder, so I can view that market and keep an eye on it whilst I actually go and look at other matches. Here I'm just sort of like scrolling around aimlessly when I should just be selecting the 1-1 in the drop down box, which I finally did. I finally stopped fast-arsing about. What I'm doing now is I'm loading up just the candles, which gives me the volume, the current price. I'm closing it, reopening it. I don't know what I'm doing here. And it's just so I can keep an eye on that price to see if it's going to be backed heavily in, or whether it's going to drift out, and that way I can then remove my bet. So yeah, so we've put the bet in place. If you notice, I've actually asked for it on the what will technically be the lay side. I've put the back bet in. When doing pre-match trading, this is always recommended to actually be asking for the price, not just taking the first price on offer. This is the PMT chat room. As you can see, Adsters down there, very seasoned trader. There's a couple of other very good traders within there. JB79, Gertz, HT. I recognise Spez from the Trading Football website. Looking down the names on the right, I recognise Mags. Phil Smith, I've noticed in the PMT chat room, lurking a lot. From what I see, he's normally got relatively good stuff to say. So yeah, I'll follow any advice that he would put into there. Having a quick look through, there's still plenty of time before kickoff. I think this is about half an hour, 20 minutes before kickoff. And you'll find that this is where the most activity starts to happen before the match kicks off. Okay, forwarded it forward a little bit now. We've gone to the Trading Football website, and we're logging into chat. I normally have chat on my right hand side monitor. My setup that I'm using is a dual monitor setup, both 24 inches. I will be extending to a third monitor setup in the not too distant future. So into the chat room we go. Change my colour. Everyone seems to use black, and everyone's just messages all seem to merge into one another when they're black. General greeting, and attach the window so I can have that elsewhere on my setup. So yeah, so what I'm doing now is I'm selecting the market matcher, and what the market matcher does is it gives me an idea of strategies that are on the Trading Football website that I could apply in each of these matches. I'm clicking through into the strategies links, and you get a listing of each of the strategies. I'm not going to click onto any of them. You'd have to sign up to Trading Football to actually see them. Do note that whilst I sort of like go Trading Football, PMT, in-play scanner, I don't actually get any money out of them for doing that. They're just really good tools. So I've loaded the in-play scanner. We've identified that Kaiser Chiefs, they're a pre-match fave of 1.44 in the match odds, down 0-1 at home. And what I want to do is just check on them. South African football's not something I would normally trade on, so I want to have a look at, see, how they perform. Have they been winning regularly? So just going to put in flash score. It's nice, quick, easy interface to get around. Off screen, what I'm actually doing is I've just copied and pasted a name so I can quickly find to it rather than scrolling up and down. Everything I'm trying to do as quickly as possible. I want to get through as many trades as possible and just recycling my money to make more money. So you can see that Kai's are doing well at home. Morocco Swallows are a bit shit away. Quick look at the standings tables. So, God knows what I'm doing now. I'm trying to drag the standings down into it. So away, Morocco Swallows are 12th, 3 games played, and Kaiser Chiefs, not the band, they are 4 games out of 4th this season at home. So to me, that's a relatively easy back of Kaiser Chiefs. Excuse me. So will we predict a rise of goals? Fingers crossed. But they were 1.44 before kickoff. They're 3.3 now. It's a small little bet onto them. I think I backed the draw as well at this point, just in case they didn't bring the 2 back to go on to win. So yeah, today's video is a lot shorter than my last one. I discovered what the pause button does on my screen recording software. So it's a lot shorter. There was a lot less for me to edit. As I might have mentioned on the Trading Football forum, that I managed to delete videos 2 and 3 of my first day, where the computer was screaming after me recording day 2 that it was running out of space, and I deleted what I thought was the temporary files, but it was the raw recordings. So Paul, you are a twat. Okay, Liverpool Real Madrid. What I'm actually doing here is I'm laying the any unquoted correct score to away. This market covers sort of like 0-4, 0-5, 0-6, 1-5, 1-6, as you can see on the screen. I did no analysis on this. I simply followed the advice of Bingo Little in the Trading Football chat room. I will pretty much blindly follow anything he says in there because, long term it leads to profit for me. So I will just constantly follow him blindly. Forever, probably. So I've asked for 1.15. The market being quite swingy, I've noticed, and it drops down. We don't get all of it matched. The reason the whole of it's not matched is within this market it's actually driven by Betfair's bots. Here's me stupidly trying to actually get in and do some bookmaking on it, because I can see that it's a overround book of 100.4%, which would mean a guaranteed profit on every selection, barring that 1/6 there. But the fact that it's Betfair driven market stopped me from actually doing it, and plus the fact the book was dropping down. It's one of those strange markets where Betfair are actually setting all the prices, and most of the money there is actually Betfair's fronted money, rather than actually being other traders or just punters. So yeah, so the first other one that I'm looking at is Olympiacos Juventus. So when I did a bit of analysis on this, it's Champions League, so normal analysis kind of goes out of the window for me. I felt that it was going to be a low-scoring game. I thought that Juventus would do it. What I wanted to do was swing the 0-0, 0-1, and 1-0. So 40 seconds before kick-off, I think I'd taken 1-3 or 3-1 as insurance. I thought I favoured Juventus, so I think I took 1-3 as insurance, just in case there was the early goal. Gave it something to work with, rather than just being limited then to the 0-1. If it had, for example, gone 0-1 very early doors. Okay, having a look at Kaiser, and they seem to be having a couple of pops against them. Just had a shot on target, so the in-play scanner with a bleeps against me because I have the match highlighted. Yeah, they hadn't had too many shots on target. I wasn't too worried because it was small stakes. I figured that they could get at least one, bring back the draw, if not go on for the win. I've got the home win and also the draw backed. Pandera having a look at their 1.44 pre-kickoff as well, currently at 1.51, 50 minutes gone, all the possession at 59. I think I'd backed them 2-0, 3-0, something like that, 3-1 as well. And I was going to do a little scalp on the 0-0. So just adjusting my back stake. I have no idea why I've set it at 16.6. Just bring it down to twos, small banks, small stakes, just building it up gradually and gradually and gradually. I think I actually brought my stakes down compared to what I had done the last couple of days, simply because of getting burnt by Bayern Munich. I felt that I'd expanded the stakes too quickly, even if it was sort of like £3.50, £4, if I remember correctly. I thought more sensible to actually come in and do it this way. So I'm just putting in the counter bet there to close it off on this swing that I was doing on a 0-0. Olympiacos back to there. I didn't get matched on the 0-0, so I think I put the bet in there at 10.5. Yeah, I did. And we're just going to look at to swing that down, the 0-1 down, the 1-0 down, remove the liability a bit, and then we'll have a little play about seeing what happens during the match. So skip forward a little bit, 7 minutes in, Olympiacos seems to be pressing. That 0-0 hasn't moved at all whatsoever. 0-1, that's come down a bit. 1-0, no, that's not really come down. What else had I done? I'd done the 1-0, and it was the 1-3 that I did in the end. So I've got £15.50 liability in there. Olympiacos seem to be doing relatively well early doors, so I back Olympiacos £3.50. So that was meant to be as it covers the 2-0, the 3-0 that I haven't got on the correct score market. And what am I looking for here? Let's have a look. Oh, Kaiser. There we go. There's the equaliser. So if I remember rightly, I jumped over to Kaiser. Anytime today, Paul. There we go. Let's load up that Angel Guardian. Have a look. See. Nice big overround again from where the market's correcting itself. I don't think I touched it. I think I left it to run. I couldn't see Morocco Swallows coming back, and £5 liability was dealable. I think my bank when I started was, with the disaster yesterday, I think my bank was down to £44, £45. Had a really good morning over in Japan. It was what I call pump and dump trades. And I think I'd won about 30. I remember my bank being up near about £70. So it's a bit of a recovery with those. If I have time in between some later on in this video, I'll talk a bit more about that. So Ludogorets Basel, both had a couple of early chances. So I thought back to 2-2. If it went 1-1 early doors, that would drop down to, I'd say maybe about 7s, 8s. And then could use that. Also 0-0 was going to be used as a bit of cover there. There was a red card, I think, not too long, about 10-15 minutes later. I do remember it being first half. So it turned out into an interesting trade, this one. I believe it was profitable. Yeah, across the whole day I had, I think it was 8 wins, 1 scratch, so no loss, no win there, and 0 losses. What I'll actually do is I'll bring up the profit and loss at the end of the video so you can see. I think it was £50 profit for the day. So not a bad return using small stakes. So yeah, so the 1-0, I think there had been a disallowed goal to Juventus, so I kind of got spooked and wanted to get out. It might have been at this point, or it might just be me thinking, yeah, okay, let's get out now. It's been about 20 minutes into the match, 25. Ridden it down. Sometimes you get caught out, other times you don't. It's the risk you take whilst betting. So, did I re-enter the 0-0? I think, I re-entered the 0-0. I think I decided I was going to have another bash at doing all of it. Yeah, there's one going in for 0-1 there. I think when it came to the goal that was scored in that match, I had managed to get out of 0-0, but wasn't out of the 0-1, and it went to 1-0 to Olympiacos. So Real Madrid 1 up against the Bin Dippers. Sorry, I mean Liverpool. Toronto, I can see down there, they're losing 0-3 at home, so that would be normally one of my unquoted entries, where I would actually lay the unquoted. It is I think that was an odds-on one, so I wouldn't have absolute brilliant confidence in it. So I'm just pointing out Olympiacos 1-0 there. So we're scratched there. We've got profit on the match odds. The scare ones for me on that match would have been a 2-2 and 1-2. So just clicking around randomly on matches. Yeah, Basel, there had been the red card. So I decided to back them in the match odds because we're relatively well covered. Well, we're not really well covered. If with the red card, you'd expect Ludogorets to go on to win the match relatively heavily. So I thought 2 goals ahead, back to 2-0, and then if needs be, I could cover the 1-0 a little bit later on. The pricing that wouldn't drop too heavily at this moment in time. So yeah, it's me trying to get matched on it. 7.6, asked for 7.4 now. £2. So if Basel did go on to win, we're covered on the 0-1, 0-2, 0-3. 1-1 wouldn't be a great result, but we have the money on 2-2 there as well, which we could use as leverage if it went to an early 1-1. Back to Olympiacos. Nope, jump into Liverpool. I'm jumping around everywhere. Leverkusen got that 40p from the pre-match trading. It was the only one that actually got matched out of the 4 that I tried to do. Back to Basel now. We're into the second half. Well, no, it'd be about half time with the back and lay prices on 0-0. I was probably umming and ahhing as to what to do with it. You can see there I've taken a bit of money on the 1-0 now. And if I remember correctly, it was a very late goal to Ludogorets in that match. Yeah, Liverpool Real Madrid, there had been an early second goal, so I decided to green up there on that market on the correct score to away. So I think, what was it? It was less than £1.50 liability to start off with, and I took about £3 profit overall in it. So good return on investment there. Ludogorets Basel coming along nicely, I'd say. Got leverage on 0-0 there. Bit more cover on the 1-0 for if and when they score. And you can see there they're pressing, on that little index thing on the scanner, it was showing 51. No, which one's this? Pontedera. What did I do on Pontedera? I backed them, that was it. Leverkusen just clicking onto it, even though 40p is kind of guaranteed there. Liverpool, Real Madrid, money's guaranteed there. Olympiacos, we're covered with showing a loss there on 1-0, but we have Olympiacos backed in the match odds. 1-1 wouldn't have been great there. I topped it up a little bit later. Ludogorets Basel. I've laid some of the 0-0 off there. I think I topped up the 1-0 as well. Basel, we covered on the match odds with our match odds bets. That covers 0-1, 0-2, 0-3. Back to the scanner. Juventus really pushing against Olympiacos. I think this is where I'd back the 1-1. Ascoli, I'd got out due to them pushing very hard, it seemed, for the 4th goal. I had the lay on the unquoted. Getting to the business end of things now. What did I do here? I think this is where I topped up the 1-all. So yeah, so this is about, it's just an hour and a half squeezed into 20 minutes. 2.5 hours actually with the pre-match trading beforehand. Just sat waiting to get matched. Not a lot happening. Do I click round? Do I get it matched? Yeah, 2-0 pretty much not the greatest there. £2.50 loss. Because having only the £10 on Olympiacos in the match odds. Yeah, there we go, topped it up. So £4.50 loss if it came to it. £6 profit at the moment. Da, 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 da. Not a lot happening. The match suspended up there in Bet Angel Guardian. Yeah, it's just a case of just seeing out the matches. I felt I was fairly well covered. The only other moves I think that happened any later were me. No, I can't think there was any other moves that I did. So what I'll just do is I'll show you the profit and loss for today. And that's me signing out. Thanks for listening, watching. Hopefully I didn't bore you to tears.